fasting for Lent? Everyone? That's what I thought. Tom is fasting. But good morning to all in the sanctuary and all online as we prepare to sing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings, see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings, see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday service. Let's start our time together today with a reading from the Daily Word. Sunday, March 12th. Taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of a sunset, I realize in another part of the world, the first rays of a rising sun are bringing light to a morning sky. Whether I can see it or not, the sun never stops shining. Somewhere, a new day is dawning. Much more brilliantly than the sun, the light of God, too, is always shining. Sometimes my thoughts may be so focused on a challenging life situation that I do not sense this divine light. Then, in a flash of insight, I experience again the illuminating presence that, even in my darkest moments, is as near as my next thought. I affirm, let there be light. I breathe out frustration and worry. Breathing in, I am filled with the light of truth that illuminates my mind and shines from within my heart. The scripture today from Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. So let's repeat that affirmation together. I welcome the light. I welcome the light. Our chaplain will lead us in an opening prayer.
Good morning. Welcome. That's me.
I thought you were taller.
She thought I was taller. Actually, I'm at the age where I'm shrinking. So. Well, today was the first day that at my house the crystals caught the bright, shining sun, which it was much brighter than here. The crystals in my windows for the very first time, must have been because we lost an hour of sleep. They scattered rainbows all over my living room, all over the walls, all over the ceiling. And I know that I get to watch them now for a long time. They just cheer me right up. They're just beautiful. Okay, let's settle in and put your feet on the floor. Put your hands in your lap, either palms up or palms down. Close your eyes or leave them open. Do whatever it is that makes you the most comfortable. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Now exhale. Again, a deep breath in and hold it. Now exhale and relax. God is the source of all that is. God is radiant light. Illumination means the light of Christ, spiritual understanding, and intuitive knowing. As children of God, we realize the light of God shines brilliantly within us. Our soul glows outward, and we know that our human journey is sacred. God's light is without any limitation and is enduring for all people. We are assured that when it is cold and dark, when we crave warmth and light, even a candle is healing. From the book of Isaiah, we learn that the rough places in our path will be made straight, and the darkness before us will turn into light. When we are centered, each breath we take increases our glow from within. When we shine our light brightly, we become a voice of clarity and hope, even in times of unrest and chaos. We become expressions of comfort and faith, and we can bless others who are struggling. As we embrace divine guidance, we become faith-filled and confident. God continuously illuminates our inspiration, imagination, and understanding. In return, we let our light expand outward through our community, our planet, and the universe. Then we can commit to letting our glorious light shine without limits. Sweet Spirit, we are so thankful that in a single breath we can ignite the candle within us and bring more compassion, love, and peace into the world. When Jesus said in the book of John, quote, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life," end quote. We know this is the truth of our being, and so it is. Amen.
Okay, this is Unity of Everett's Greatest Hits, number 2. Just relax. When you gotta wake up sometime, you might as well wake up right now.
That's what she says every morning.
I can't help it,
God makes me want to sing.
I can't
Help it, God makes me want to sing.
makes me feel so
So good I can do most anything.
well. Now I am loving every living thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. Because we're all precious, no one less or more. We've all got the same future in store. That's why I'm loving every living thing.
I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing.
Makes me feel so
Good I can do most anything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
most.
It makes me
Feel so good, I can do most. Makes me feel so good, I can do most anything.
That's exactly what we needed, wasn't it? I can feel the time change right about here, can't you? Boy, Sunday came early today, didn't it? Well, I would like to introduce you to the people who are most visibly serving you today. You were greeted by our ushers, Lonnie and Nancy. Our social hour is being hosted by Yvonne. Audio video is being provided by Josh and Walter. Our chaplain, Nancy, you met a moment ago. Sally and Doug and Richard are providing music for us this morning, best part of Sunday morning. My name is Cindy, and Doug Benecke will be our speaker today. So thanks. Thank you for all of you making a great Sunday morning for us. Reminder, if you brought your cell phone in with you, please turn that off so we can have a nice quiet meditation here in a moment. And a couple of announcements. I would like to call your attention to the bulletin that you received when you came in. It's full of information about what's happening at the church this week and for the remainder of the month. I'd like to start by thanking those of you who came last Tuesday night for the first of our community discernment gatherings. We really appreciate you coming and weighing in and giving us your thoughts and ideas. That is the first of 8 sessions that we'll be having together. The next one will be Thursday, March 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. in the social hall. We'd love to have you join us. We're working on just processing through a lot of the change that our community has been through and charting a course for where we go as we move forward, looking at what we want to create here at Everett Unity and how we want our church community to be inside this building and out into the community. So we really would appreciate your support to be part of that. I'm excited to say our first book study group gathers this week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We'll be reading The Universe is Calling by Eric Butterworth. Hope you can come and join us from 2 to 3 p.m. The board meets this week, Wednesday night, the 15th at 6 p.m. down in the social hall, and then Drum Circle will be this Friday, third Friday of the month as well. And before we start in on meditation, I would like to announce, some of you may already know this, but our former minister, Reverend Julie Montag, who had been here for a while, has gone missing up in Mount Baker National Park, up in the forest up there. She has moderate dementia, and they have set out search parties, and so you can imagine the grief her family is feeling. And so today I'd like to suggest that we just hold her and her family in our hearts and say a prayer for them and pray for a good outcome for them, because they're going through a thing that no one would want to go through. So we send our best to her and to their family, and we hope that this ends well. So let's just hold them in our hearts this morning, and we'll settle in now and get ready for meditation.
Well, Cindy, you're going to have to sing first.
Oh, that's right, there is singing.
You get to sing first.
Yes. We're glad. I'm always glad to sing.
Just repeat after me. Some of you know this one, some of you may not. I am like the wind.
I am like the wind.
No one can hold me.
No one can hold.
I belong to everyone.
I belong to everyone.
No one can own me.
No one can own me.
The whole world is my home.
The whole world is my home.
All are my family.
All are my family.
I live in every heart.
I live in every heart.
I will never leave thee.
I will never leave thee.
And I'll have you repeat after me as I sing those same lines, and I'm sure you'll get it. I am like the wind. I am like the wind. Nothing can hold me.
Nothing can hold me. let us just take these precious moments together. To feel, to remember, to connect with that eternal presence, that which is always available to us, though we may forget at times. Wherever you are, whether in the sanctuary or visiting us virtually, the invitation is to take these next moments, allow the breath to slow and deepen. Feel that presence. All are my family, says Spirit. May we feel that presence together. Whatever our minds have told us, whatever our grievances or grief, we are all connected. Spirit connects us, and we are spiritual beings on this human journey together. Let us feel the truth of that connection, that spiritual presence, for some moments without narration, just with the quiet music. We are Spirit. Eternal loving presence, may we realize our connection today and each day of our lives. May we be present in that connection today and each day going forward. Amen. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. the doorway where two worlds meet. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorway where two worlds meet. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Thank you. Sorry. Those are some lines from Rumi, set to music by another member of our Unity family band, Jana Benecke, a very talented keyboardist and composer. And I don't know if we told Jana we were doing this, but it fits in with what we were speaking about today. Summertime. It's not summertime. Though the days are lengthening, are they not? The crystals are shining on Nancy's walls and windows. In fact, we are in Lent now, and you may be interested to know that this word Lent, this liturgical period we've recently entered, literally means lengthening and refers to the days getting longer, to the increase in light. This is why everything is growing now, including stinging nettles in our woods, which are delicious, steamed. I look forward to them. I picked some yesterday. They await. But traditionally, this is meant to be a time of charity, fasting, and prayer, beginning with Ash Wednesday, which this year was February 22nd. This is why I made the joke earlier near the beginning of the service. Who here has been fasting? And only Tom is good. If we haven't been doing all those things, at least not exclusively, we are certainly not out of the mainstream, right? But there is still time to redirect our soul's attention more deeply to things of the Spirit. It's a tradition in the lead up to Easter and the resurrection, and there's a reason for the contrast. In the lengthening days, we celebrate the return of light and its triumph over darkness, the return of visible, budding life to the woods and fields, and its victory over quiescence and death. And we are meant to use this time to reflect on all that separates us from God, and may I add, from each other. And the living is easy. I know you were thinking about that. Well, living may not be that easy, at least not all the time. If living was totally easy, then we might not be here today anyway. I mean, it's nice to get together, and everything that we get to do together, but what a spiritual community offers us also is the comfort and connection that can help us through some difficult times. If this world had no stickleburs, if it was all just a playful romp, it's difficult to imagine what that would be like, actually. It's like imagining living in only 2 dimensions, like the child's book, Flatland. The fact is, our experience of life is always 3-dimensional and more. And one of those dimensions is difficulty, pain, suffering. Yes, it's also true that bliss is a dimension, and so is having a nice dinner. But I'm just drawn to the dark side, topic-wise. You're welcome. One inspiration for this talk comes from the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron. Her story of how she came to Buddhism, I think, is relevant. She says in an interview that when her marriage was falling apart, in the early 1970s, she was looking for some way to cope, understandably. Maybe some of us have been there. She got a lot of spiritual advice along the lines of just turn toward the light. And she notes this wasn't helpful because if I could have simply turned toward the light, I would have done that. She found she could not. There are times when we would like to just be in that light and love, but it simply is not happening for us. We feel grief or anger, even righteous anger, perhaps. I know my anger is always righteous, if you're keeping score. Or we have some grievance or another, and we know we are right. And all that clinging to our rightness, it seems this takes us not toward the light, but in some other direction. What Pema Chodron did find in that difficult life passage was an article by a Buddhist teacher that said, if you are negative right now, there's nothing wrong with that as a state you're going through. Maybe you have something to learn from this place of pain. Maybe there's a message of wisdom in what I'm experiencing at this moment. And rather than compounding this pain by fighting it, by being negative about it in turn, you can simply try to experience it directly. What Chodron calls sitting in the fire. Not recommended literally. This was the beginning of Pema Chodron's practice as a student, teacher, and author. So pain, suffering, and negativity, these, as always, are key elements in my perennial message of hope. Let me share these words with you, written down a long time ago. Jesus went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and he said, "Sit here while I go over there to pray." He took Peter, James, and John, and he became anguished and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went on a little farther and bowed with his face to the ground, praying, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet Your will is to be done, not mine. Then he returned to the disciples and found them asleep. And he said to Peter, couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Well, no, they could not. What Jesus was grappling with, they just couldn't stay with him, but fell into unconsciousness, into sleep. My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. In my imagination, I hear at least one disciple saying something like, did you hear what Jesus said? What a bummer. Look, dude, this Jesus guy can really be a downer sometimes. It would make anybody go to sleep just to get a break. Just turn toward the light, Jesus. I'm sorry if that's a little sacrilegious, just a joke. I can imagine these types of responses, though, to someone, even someone you respect and love, who talks about the soul being crushed with grief. These are conversations we often try to flee from, right? When we ask somebody, how you doing, we don't really want the answer necessarily. Jesus was grappling with something so heavy. We do not know what precisely he understood at that point. We know now how the story unfolds with betrayal, a trial, a crucifixion. And the intent of the author of Matthew is to convey to us that Jesus likely intuited or had some sense of what was coming. And in a highly grievous state was in dialogue with God, the Creator, anticipating his own suffering and death. Maybe Jesus foresaw what was going to happen. Maybe not. We can't know. The problem for many of us, and my message here today, is that when we have our own Garden of Gethsemane moments, when we think we know what is going to happen, when we are in pain, we may find that we begin in a perfectly natural way to construct a story to tell ourselves about it. And it may be perfectly understandable if we do not do what Jesus asked of the disciples with him that night. And so we don't stay awake in prayer and meditation as Jesus did. We fall asleep into the trance of our own internal story. Are you with me a little bit? Has anybody told themselves stories? I think if you're like me and storytelling is not second nature, but perhaps first nature, then this story, the one we tell ourselves, is elaborate and contains many fanciful details regarding not just what is happening right now, but what that means and what other people are going to say about it when they find out. And then what I'm going to be feeling tomorrow and then next week. And here's what people will say at my memorial service about this awful situation I created. I mean, if I even have a memorial service, I mean, maybe they'll invite people, but no one will even come. And we spin the story, don't we? Sometimes to make the pain worse if we're wired to feel some sort of payoff in that. Or sometimes to minimize our discomfort, or to blame someone else and put a villain in our story so we can feel sorry for ourselves. I'm only talking about stuff I've done, so I'm not saying to you people, I do this stuff. We fall into a trance. We fall asleep in a way because these mental patterns are deeply unconscious for most of us. Again, I don't mean for you guys. Maybe you know someone who has these problems and you can pass this on, is all I'm saying. We can't know exactly what Jesus was thinking in the garden, but the text suggests his prayer was about acceptance. Father, if this cup cannot be taken away, if I must drink it, then okay, your will be done. This radical acceptance is a dish that does not go down easy. But there is an offering from God in acceptance. This is the path to the power of true wisdom. What Pema Chodron talks about also is the practice of complete acceptance. Not falling into storytelling about my pain, but sitting directly in the fire. She says we need to let the storyline go and have an immediate experience of what's actually happening without blaming ourselves or anyone else. Well, that's easy. I can do that before breakfast. Give me a hard one. Seriously, how can we do such things? Here I admit I'm very qualified to talk about the storytelling and unconscious, trancey stuff because I know how to do that really well. I may be unqualified to tell anyone how to consistently take a different pathway based on my lack of solid and reliable performance in that area. So you may think of me as an enthusiastic fifth grader giving a presentation about being an astronaut because of my nerdy interest in spaceflight. But with this qualification, I will, in time-honored Sunday message fashion, make 3 suggestions. First, all the traditions are clear about this. We have the opportunity in this life to pray and meditate in such a way that we begin to disengage from our stories and to connect with something greater than ourselves. In meditation, there's a quality that we can call witness consciousness, in which we are invited to see each thought that arises, each story element as a part of this somewhat repetitive mechanism of our mental lives, rather than perhaps a truly meaningful fact. So I am meditating or sitting in silent prayer and contemplation, and I think, I don't know, I'm too fat, or what this person said to me hurt my feelings, or maybe I'm going to go blind and then I'll have to live on food stamps, or whatever. And whatever that thought is, I'm invited by any meditation or prayer practice you can think of to simply notice there's another thought and set it aside. Picture it as a bird flying past the window of my consciousness. See it as a little piece of kindling that is now burnt and becomes smoke from the chimney dissipating into the clear sky. I'm invited to not fall unconsciously into the trance of thinking the thoughts that would follow from the first thing on my mind, but to stay awake, aware, alert in the garden of contemplation, to seek the wisdom and discernment of Christ in this moment. And I love how the church has begun this discernment process, a synonym for wisdom, in March, when the spiritual power is wisdom. So that's the first point, personal practice, being present in prayer, in meditation. Second, if someone in my life gives me the present of being conscious and observant about me,
Who would that be?
beats me, some people, somewhere. I have the opportunity to regard that as a gift, not push it away. Winston Churchill, I'm always reading his stuff. He wrote more than Shakespeare, published more stuff. He was exposed to many negative evaluations of his judgment and conduct through more than 50 years in politics. And he said this in the House of Parliament. Extra points if you guess what year. Criticism is always advantageous. I have derived continued benefit from criticism at all periods of my life, and I do not remember any time when I was ever short of it. It was 1914 for those keeping score. It is such a gift when someone loves you enough to say, I don't know, like, wow, you're really worked up about nothing right here. Or, I bet you could change your mood if you're willing. None of us may exactly want to turn on a dime and see such input as a gift. But it is. Someone regards me and cares about me enough to be aware of what I'm saying and doing and maybe even what I'm thinking. They see evidence of the trance I'm falling into. And they realize that I'm receding from them and becoming less available and connected, more caught up in the web of my thoughts. They're asking, really, couldn't you stay awake with me for 1 hour? They are in that moment perhaps Jesus or Buddha, inviting me to be present. If I don't see them in that light at that moment, that's understandable. But the gift is being offered. And finally, thirdly, there is the gift that is the creation, the habitat we live in, ever present and offering us a mirror and a witness to our lives and consciousness. I believe this is no more evident, perhaps, than when we're in nature, in wilderness even. I will never forget the time in college when I went backpacking in the Smoky Mountains with a friend, and a bear ate all the food that Charlie and I had brought because we were young fools and had hung our food in a stuffed sack about 4.5 feet off the ground. It was basically a bear snack bag. Our hike out, with no nourishment but some wild strawberries we found, was worth an entire semester of camping classes. And the strawberries, were the sweetest thing you could imagine. Similarly, a little later in my life, when maybe I could have known better, I went backpacking in the Olympics in sneakers without much warm clothing. The mountains provided me a lesson there as well. I'm glad I'm here with you today. If we are open to what this great living world tries to tell us, we have the opportunity daily to snap out of the trance. It's like the offering from this short Robert Frost poem, Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. He refers there to the story we tell ourselves, right? The writer of the poem had already decided this day is not going to go well. And then the crow woke him up. Sometimes nature itself wakes us up with a face full of rain or a dust of snow and shakes us out of our trances, our storytelling into reality, into greater discernment. Rumi, too, as we sang earlier, talks about staying awake The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. We can fall into the sleep of trance at any time. And it's like meditation practice. Over and over again, we will find ourselves falling into the trance of our thoughts and have to remind ourselves, be here now in the present. I want to tell you one more tale I've come across. This is the story of Mohini, a white tiger who lived for many years at the Washington, D.C. National Zoo. For most of that time, her home, this is a sad story. I've got my Kleenex right here. Her home was a 12 by 12 foot cage with iron bars and a cement floor. What a terrible home for a tiger. Mohini spent her days pacing restlessly back and forth in her cramped quarters. Eventually, zoo biologists and staff worked together to create a natural habitat for her, several acres with hills, trees, a pond. An excited crowd gathered the day they released Mohini into her new expansive environment. But it was too late. The tiger immediately sought refuge in a corner of the compound where she lived for the remainder of her life. She paced and paced in that corner until an area 12 feet by 12 feet was worn bare of grass. How many of us are unconsciously pacing a cage of limitations that were once imposed on us but are no longer true? How many of us are sleepwalking our way through patterns that we could get beyond if we would only awaken? We are so fortunate to have a human birth and to be living in this culture in a universe of choice. If we will watch out and watch inside as well, we can begin little by little to witness our lives and our thoughts. We can accept loving feedback from others and begin to observe nature and our own natures. And step by step, we can watch, precisely as the disciples failed to do with Jesus, even for 1 hour. Any of us can fall into a trance, and probably will repeatedly. But we can also pay heed to Jesus saying, "Keep watch with me." To Pema children enjoining us to sit in the fire. And to Rumi urging us, don't go back to sleep. We can wake up if we watch out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. What about the tiger?
Mohini.
So, greatest hits unity Everett #2. This is love, 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 love. The gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And love, love, love. What more do you need? I mean, there it is, right there. So we'll do this together. Some of you know this quite well. Love do that as a round. And you two beautiful ushers, if you'll step over here so that you can help this side sing. Just come on over. So we've got this side here divided by the aisle, and you're gonna sing with this guy right here. And then we from the aisle over here are going to follow me. And even if I end up going like, whoa, it means that's time to stop. So we are going to start first over here. So you must enunciate, they can see your words really well. Here we go. Love, 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 love. Gospel in one word is love.
Love,
Thyself and
gospel in one word is love.
and
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
love, 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 love. Gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
and love, love, love.
We're all together now. I don't know why. Gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love.
I was thinking about that song. We do usually do that as a round, so it was funny when you stopped and had us do it that way.
Well, you know.
I know, it's fun. Well, thank you for a wonderful message, Doug. It was really amazing, as always. So now it's time to bless our offering and thank our Creator for the many blessings that we have been given and affirm our gratitude. So let's start by affirming the truth about ourselves. This is how it goes. My name is, and you use your name, and I am prosperous, always and in all ways. So let's say that together. My name is, and I am prosperous, always and in all ways. Remember, always meaning forever and ever, and always as in all forms. So let's take our offering now and hold it next to your heart, literally or figuratively. Think about that cycle of prosperity, the giving and the receiving. What is it that Jesus said that what you are given will be given back to you tenfold or sevenfold or something like that? It's that cycle of giving and receiving. And I always think of it this way: you can't outgive God. Can't outgive God. So let's take our offering and we'll bless it together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I share, and all that I receive. Thank you, Creator. Amen.
I'm a little out of tune and I'm gonna fix it right now.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright
sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain. See how
I can see all obstacles.
I can see all obstacles in my way.
Gone are the dark clouds.
Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Oh, thank you so much for your message and for that song. I am so energized now. That used to be my favorite song, and I remember clearly at age 21. Believe it or not, I can think that far back. Driving down the freeway, going to my first job, all the windows rolled down, and singing that song at the top of my lungs. And it was a symbol of freedom.
You know what they say, Nancy? Once a good song, always
Always a good song, that's right.
You just keep singing it.
Oh, so thank you very much. Okay, let's take a moment and bless our offering. Father, Mother, God, we are so thankful to be here, to be together, to be a part of this community, to be able to come on Sunday mornings and be energized and feeling fulfilled and just feeling great by the time we turn around to go back out into the world. Thank you for this wonderful offering that people have given today. We're always thankful for those who give of their time and their talents and their treasures, and we know that they will go out into our community here at church to keep things functioning and to help us to grow. So we are very thankful, and so it is. Amen.
That was fun, Nancy, thinking about that song. Don't we all have one of those? I don't know what it is about music and cars that go together, and we can all remember that one particular song that you just have to roll down the window and drive fast. Some of us drive too fast. I don't know who that could be. Yeah. No, I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you. Well, Nancy is available for prayer support after service if you'd like to come down and have a moment of prayer with her before you go down for social hour. Please come down if you have time today, have a cup of coffee, say hello and visit for a few minutes. Let's circle around now. Let's come down these two aisles and around the front and back here and see if we can stand together. We'll say our prayer of protection and sing our peace song. There you go. That way you don't have to stretch quite so far. Perfect. All right, there we go. Our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.